She's expanding her skill sets in project management with a strong track record in driving successful digital transformation initiatives. With a commitment to delivering measurable results, she's dedicated to helping organizations optimize their operations and achieve their strategic goals. She's a certified hacker from EC Council, certified in cybersecurity from ISC², along with a number of certifications on security and data protection from IBM, a Women in Cyber, ITU affiliate, and WISIS affiliate. She self-learns and is open to junior pen tester roles. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Miss Alice Donko. Miss Alice, kindly say hi if you are on the call. Let's see.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Welcome, Miss Alice.
Thank you.
Okay. Our next speaker is a core network engineer at the Vodafone Network Operating Center, Ghana. She has a HND in computer science and is currently a level 400 BS computer science student at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. She loves to read. And ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Ms. Rodlin Nakisiauna. Ms. Rodlin, kindly unmute your mic and say hi.
Miss Rodlin.
Okay, so that's Ms. Rodlin. Hi, and you're welcome. So our final speaker is a web designer and developer with over 4 years experience. He has proven track records of creating, engaging, and user-friendly websites. He holds a Master of Engineering in Software Engineering and has helped his university build a strong online presence from the ground up. His current role as the webmaster and coordinator for the Web Software Development Unit at TKTUTAS, formerly UDS Navrongo Campus, to lead a team of designers and developers in creating and maintaining web apps and websites for the institution and other clients. In addition to his work as a web professional, he also teaches students and shares expertise with the next generation of web designers and developers. Expertise in web design and development combined with leadership and technical skills makes him an asset to any. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Elvis Gatti Selassie. Kindly unmute your mic and say hi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you're all welcome to today's session. It promises to be active and educative. Okay, so without wasting my time, we would like to zoom into our discussions. So there's been so many career tech opportunities for students and young professionals, but it looks like in our parts of the world, which is Ghana to be precise, we barely see that. I, for instance, I'm a computer science graduate from the university, but then coming out, I didn't even know the industry in which I'd wanted to work because I didn't see any around. All I knew was coming out as an IT personnel, I'm going to do printing like people do in the printing. I'm going to do photocopies, etc. Because networking wasn't my favorite. So I didn't know which institution I would fit in or what I was going to do after school. Now, Mr. Selassie, I'd like to find out what are some of the careers in tech for students and young professionals? Are there any such existing in Ghana? Because it looks like most of us struggle to put our hands on opportunities like that.
Thank you, Ms. Dana, for having me. We have a number of careers, especially in tech, and specifically that women can venture into. But it all depends on the kind of skills that you have, and then the kind of skills that is needed in the market. We've all seen democratization of AI systems and then artificial intelligence in these times, popular ones being the ChatGPT and Midjourney and co. So there are some specific careers that you can actually venture into in this period. So popular one is data scientist. For instance, if you take the ChatGPT system, for instance, it involves a lot of data. It involves a lot of training data that is processed, run through a lot of pipelines before the model is able to understand the kind of data. So if you venture into this field as a data scientist, you have a lot of opportunities to not even work for the big tech companies, but smaller companies that you can actually integrate simple data systems and AI models into their operations. We have software engineering, still an active field, and I'm not sure AI is going to take that career out any soon. So if you venture into software engineering, you'll be able to design software applications, web applications, and all those applications for organizations, clients, and then individuals. And security, cyber security is also one particular career that is gaining grounds at the moment. We all know we are dealing with a lot of data, we are dealing with a lot of systems that has almost always been compromised. Even our WhatsApp, sometimes they are compromised, they are being hacked and all those things. So venturing into cybersecurity industry is a good way to actually help keep security from being attacked or hacked. And then those of us in the academia who are still schooling, we can venture into AI research. So you're able to research into AI, develop new AI models or pipelines for the data scientists or machine learning engineers to actually implement. So these are just a few that I can mention, and I'm sure other panelists can actually add more. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Selassie. So the next question, with these skills that we learn, are there ready job markets, or we would have to come out and then start something on our own?
Okay, yes. These are jobs that are readily available, and then it all depends on what you can do. That's basically it, your skills. If you can show working, if I can say, if you can show working, you are easily accepted into these roles. And luckily, IT or tech careers are things that you can actually have projects to show for. So for instance, if you are a data analyst, you can have a portfolio of data projects you've done using data, your dashboards you've built, your insight into certain kind of data that you've actually analyzed. Software engineering, the applications that you've developed and all those things. So these are things that you can show. Normally, they will not probably consider your certificates, but they will want to know whether you can actually do the job. So these are fields that are hot cake. You can get jobs as quickly as well. Not necessarily in Ghana, but you can work outside Ghana and even remotely. And these works are very flexible that you can do and from any part of the world. So yes, there are opportunities out there. Yeah.
Okay. And then also, how do we prepare our girls if there are opportunities out there for all of us? How do we prepare our girls for life after school? Because it looks like mostly when we complete school, you see the guys pushing more, you see the guys out there doing more things than the ladies. How do we prepare them? Is it that the ladies are not pushing themselves, they are not really adequate with the skills? Is it that the guys are learning other things outside class that the ladies are unaware of? How do we prepare our ladies to get into the real world, life after school? How do we do that?
Okay, so this is an interesting question. So I think for for example, Tina was my classmate back at the university. So, and she can attest to the fact that in our class alone, the ladies were just 5 or so. And as of now, it is only Tina that is actually ventured into tech, uh, working in the tech space. So I think basically some ladies do have that perception that STEM courses are hard or difficult. And that is why they actually find it difficult actually venturing into the tech space. And one way that we can actually change their mind or perception about a particular thinking is we already have some ladies in tech who are doing very well, who are good at what they do. So what they can do is provide an avenue where these ladies who are already in the tech space can mentor the coming ones who are starting out, so that they will know that it's a field that they can easily do, that they can easily get a job in. Also, I think there are situations where you feel inadequate, and it has happened to some of us a lot. You feel you can't really compare to those of us, those who are already in the field. And since the tech space is mainly dominated by the male, some ladies feel that they have an upper hand. So even if they have certain amount of skills, they are afraid to actually go forward and actually apply for the job or actually exhibit those skills. So we can provide an avenue where we can create a level playing field where they can display their projects, they can talk about what they do and motivate them to actually pursue careers in tech. And some companies too don't, it's just like a lady and then a man going for an interview for a particular role. Mostly it is perceived that maybe the guy will have more time on the job. The guy will not be distracted by maybe family issues moving along the way. And I think for some companies have made it a point to actually balance that the gender gap in some careers by probably giving a quota to women. And they've made the entry level like a bit low for women to enter. So as an adult, what they want is that you have the interest in a particular field, and they can even volunteer to actually train you to for that particular role. And I think the government, I think the girls in ICT, they've been doing a good job. I think between 2020 and 2022, they've been training a number of girls in ICT. And I think they are projected that they will train about 3,000 to actually create an awareness that this is a field that anyone can actually venture into. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to Mrs. Maud Sean Elliott. So Mrs. Maud, can you also help us know how can we make ICT interesting for our ladies? How can we make it more easy, more exciting? How can we drive their passion into the ICT field? How can we encourage them and let them know that they shouldn't feel down on themselves? They should have confidence and come into the field and also work with the males. The males are doing it and we can also do it. How do we do that? And for ladies who would love to also transition into the tech space, how do we encourage them?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, one thing, recently I decided to look at some of the countries where the number of females who are interested in tech have increased. And you realize that the country itself was intentional about it. What it means is they've put policies in place that have made it easy for women to survive. Apart from leadership, where they are pushing for women to get to the top, in the area of IT, it's also very important for us to be intentional about bringing the woman to the fore. So policies wise, we should also motivate and encourage. You know the word equity. So like the way when you are getting into job spaces, we know that even with admissions, even assuming to enter into computer science as aggregate 7. Okay. Then for a woman who gets aggregate 9, she should be given the opportunity. That is equity. You are doing something extra to encourage them to get into the field. These are things that is ongoing, and we're encouraging that it should be done well. Another thing is also to make sure that we give space for women to also work alone. Some are a bit timid, might not be okay working with the male gender at a point. You know, we are not saying from the beginning. So from the beginning, we could try and do things women alone, okay? And then whilst coming up, we'll be merging and integrating with the men. We need to just find a way. Normally, I know our gentlemen are not happy about this, but that is the way to go. It's still not encouraging. I'm a lecturer, so every academic year, you look at the number of females that get into the computer science and IT classes and courses, you realize that we still need to push harder, even if you have to go to the schools and pamper them and even give scholarships, and we need to go the extra mile to bring these ladies on board. So this for me is my contribution towards this question.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Okay, so pampering them to bring them on board and all that. How can we do that? Are there any mentorships? Are there any role models available? What ways can we make IT education easy for the girls? Because sometimes it's not like they can't do it, but then they feel it's difficult. Oh, this is too hard. Looking at some programming codes and they're like, no, I don't understand this. It's too difficult. Probably looking at some networking diagrams and they're like, what at all is this? I can't learn this. So how can we make it easy for them? Aside helping them by getting into the field, how can we help them as they are already in the field? Are there any mentorship programs? How do they choose role models? Or do we have any avenue for women or girls to just walk up to someone and say, okay, I need your help. Would you help me? Would you be my role model? Would you hold my hand through the tech stuff?
All right, thank you. Getting a mentor these days is a bit difficult. But one thing we should note is that we cannot survive in this space without our male counterparts. They always hold our hands. So the only woman agenda must be looked at. Now you're already in the tech space. How do we pep you up to stay in there and not branch? I mean, those days when we were doing computer science, I don't know, we're not many, we're not. But when we finished, a lot of them went into the banking industry. And I can count the number of us who stayed in the tech space. Very few, very few. And how did we survive? We survived because we decided to stay. And I have to tell you, there are avenues where we are given the opportunity to advance. But I just have to say that they still need more motivation. But we need to encourage ourselves that we can do it. The motivation is the encouragement, telling them that you can do it, telling them that the path that you are treading, others are also going about it. In Ghana, we don't have a lot of women who are already in the tech space. So if you decide that we are taking on a lot of mentors, maybe for me as a lecturer, I can deal with it from the university perspective. But when it comes to outsiders coming in, looking for me to become a mentor, it becomes difficult. So some of the things that Internet Society does, organizing these things for us to even get to know that, oh, there are people in the system, should also be a way of motivation for us. There are people there are other women who are already in the tech space who are also making it, both locally and globally, could also encourage us and make us feel at peace. We should also know that, you see, one thing we should note now is that this is the tech era. So it's an area where when you venture into, if only you are not lazy, you'll be fine. And the tech era is such that you cannot just decide that you're just going to pick one programming language and then that is it. You study it and then that is all. Listen, we are learning all the time. We are taking up courses all the time, especially as faculty. Our students now are using ChatGPT. They are Googling whilst you are lecturing, they are checking. So what do? What it means is that you must also up your game by studying all the time. So if you want to be in the tech industry, ladies and gentlemen, you must be ready to study at all times and be knowledgeable and get to know what is going on. So apart from the pepping and the encouragement, you should also have inner self-motivation. You need to motivate yourself to stay in there. So we are encouraging a lot of us, listen, get in there. You not get bored. I mean, you not get bored. Luckily for us, you can now study a lot of things online. Of course, we can't leave the fact that data is expensive, infrastructure issues, but hey, let me just encourage us that than a lot of places in West Africa, but let's just do our best. And I always believe that when you are really interested in achieving something and you are really into it, you'll make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Eshen. Okay. So are there any online platforms that are beginner friendly for those who want to either, then they are confused, online platforms that they could access to help them from somewhere?
There are a lot. Okay, there are a lot. I'm sure most of you will be saying, oh, there's Coursera, there's Udemy, there are a lot. But I believe that if we decide, you see, all these platforms were developed by people that are not in our context. Contextualization. Why can't we develop it ourselves? Whilst people are using it, we better it, and then the money comes back to us. I think we are not looking at it. We are most of the time